I don't dislike Larry Elder, but I know he has to keep to his fan base. There's nothing wrong with a black person being a conservative or a Republican, anything like that. And to some degree, I looked at the pro and the con of it, and I said, who knows? Maybe by Larry Elder being Larry Elder, he may put a different light in white people's eyes about black people. You know what I'm saying? They be like, man, if Larry Elder can cape for us, hey, maybe the blacks aren't that bad.
Well, I think this gets back into what I was saying last podcast. You got to have, if we are not a monolith, we got to allow for these other voices inside of the black community. That's why a Larry Elder, I feel like, is even though you may disagree with him, is a good voice to have. Just like a Dr. Umar is a good voice to have. Just like
Candace Owens?
A Candace Owens is a good voice to have.
Omarosa.
even though they go against black people or their blackness, you might say, I think that it is important to have these different voices, these diverse voices, because I think ultimately it pushes the black agenda, the black plight forward, even if they may be degrading it. There is something in there that pushes it forward, because now they may see Candace Owens and may have a difference of opinion, like you're saying too, about black people. So, but anyways.
But what do you think about, what's your opinion, if Malcolm, Martin, I'll even say Marcus Garvey. What do you think their opinion would be about, like a Larry Elder or Candace Owens if they were around today? Even a Frederick Douglass. What do you think their opinion would be about them and their agenda and their
I think that they would be closer to what Umar is talking about. That's why I really like Umar, because Dr. Umar Johnson, I forget what his new name is that he's going by, but I think that they would be closer to him because, but also I think that it's important that people go back and listen to some of those interviews with Malcolm X specifically, because Malcolm X, he used to talk about a lot of the stuff that Larry Elder is talking about, but it's because it's Larry Elder and he has a R in front of his name for Republican. I think a lot of people don't really listen to some of the stuff that he has to say. But I do think that they would not really like people like Candace Owens, because she is blatantly coming after black people, I feel. Whereas like a Larry Elder, I think he has strong opinions about things because of things in his past maybe, or things that he's just witnessed as a person. And so that's why he strongly believes some of the things that he is. But to me, he comes off very sincere in a lot of the statements that he makes.
Well, he's definitely entitled to his opinion.
I mean, listen.
And hold on.
Go ahead.
And what he says about the black family, about the absence of the black fathers at that particular time, but that's not the situation now. But I do agree with that. But I'm gonna tell you now, like you spoke earlier about Malcolm X. One speech I listened to was The Ballot or the Bullet. That's a great. Even if you don't want to read it, you can listen to it in Audible, and that's one of his great speeches. Now, where they were differ, Malcolm would say that yes, black men take care of your families, be in a household, but where they would differ, him and Larry Elder, is on the stance of white supremacy or quote unquote the system. Malcolm understood that the system worked against us. Now, I will say in Larry Elder's defense, partially, even though he don't want to announce it, there is a systematic racism put in place. But I will say at least Larry Elder don't let that same system stop him from achieving
exactly
what he want to do.
And that's
even
the key.
Even if that's on the point of being on the right, you know what I'm saying? But that's his choice. That's his choice.
You listen to some of the things that Larry Elder, when he talks about these liberals that are walking around.
Yeah, I agree.
There is a speech with Malcolm X where he talks about liberals, and specifically white liberals. He said, I would be weary of anybody who is trying to be ahead of the black community who is a white liberal. And he goes on and talks about it. He talks about how there's, wolves in sheep's clothing. If you go listen to that interview, it'll open up your eyes for sure.
He also talks about conservatives too.
Yeah, he talks about them too.
On both sides. Like I say, I'm not a Democrat or Republican. I don't care for either one.
Yeah, I'm not either.
Like Trump tried to say there were good people on both sides. No, there are bad people on both sides. And a far few good in between, where they don't want to say that America is a racist country, which we all know. Even Elder knows that deep down, but I get it. Hey, he's not going to let that define him. He's not going to let that stop him. Kudos to him. That's all good. But at the same time, you got to acknowledge that there are systems put in place. And honestly, the system is fucked up because of the people who run the system. But really, in hindsight, and I'm going to say this, you may disagree, and some conservatives may agree with me, really, the system is not a bad system. The system is not bad. They always say the system is broken. The system is not broken. America has one of the most perfect systems in place for anybody to achieve entrepreneurship, not just to understand, but to overstand. The problem is the people who are in charge of the system who does not play the system fairly.
They have corrupted.
Exactly. The people are corrupt, but the system is actually one of the most beautiful systems put in place.
Right.
It is. I mean, true, bar none, disagree, agree to disagree. But it's actually one of the best systems where can you do free market and invest in stocks and potentially come, you can't really do that in no place. It's just the fact that the people who are running the system, they did not really intend for people to look like you or I to be in certain places. Now, we get through, and we can get through, because they can't stop all of us. They're making, some of us with loans and mass incarceration and things like that, and trumped up charges on certain things and laws they pass and certain zip codes where you live, pertaining to redlining and things like that, and then lower poverty income schools. But, as a whole, I think we shouldn't let that stop us from achieving our goals and where we're trying to be in life and, like that. But, the system is actually good. It's just the people who are in charge of the system.
Yeah, the system isn't perfect, though. The system.
No, it's not perfect by no means. No system is perfect.
Yeah, but, in the Constitution, it says, a more perfect union, even though, it's not really perfect. So, yeah. But anyways, I guess we can get started here. We got a few stories for you guys. We are going to be talking about the Michael Orr and the Tua family. Did I say it right? Tui family. I'm thinking about football. Football's back, y'all. I can't wait.
Yeah.
It's
preseason.
Back.
Have you watched any preseason game?
I don't really watch preseason. I can't get over in my mind that it's a preseason game, because it's like, oh yeah, there's no consequences. There's nothing really going on. We got the backup players out there.
They trying to make the cut.
Yeah, I don't really watch the preseason as much. But yeah, we'll be going into the Michael Orr situation and the Tui family. And we'll also be talking about the Maui fires. Now it seems like, I think there's 93 people who have died. I was watching a TikTok, though, of this woman who's on the ground, and she said that there might have been more than that, a lot more people who have died. I know that there are a lot of people missing. At least 106 have been confirmed dead. So we'll be talking about that. And then we'll be going into the Trump indictment. Trump has been indicted for the fourth time. This guy can't catch a break, huh? He is now indicted in Georgia for some comments that he made, and he came down with the RICO this time. So this one's probably the most damning. So we'll be talking about that. And then lastly, we'll be talking about Barbillion, they're calling it now. Barbie has made over $1 billion. We'll be talking about the box office and Oppenheimer, of course, and some of the money in Hollywood and things that are going down. But first, we're going to talk about Michael Oher. Former NFL player Michael Oher, whose life story was portrayed in the award-winning movie The Blindside, claims that the Tuohy family tricked him into signing a conservatorship. Basically, by the way, this is a CNN story. Basically, he thought that he was adopted, but we all thought he was adopted, but he actually is under a conservatorship, similar to Britney Spears. And this family has really made a lot of money off of this movie that was made. People are saying that Sandra Bullock should give back her Oscar. Michael Oher hadn't benefited from the movie at all. And so a lot of people are in uproar about this. And yeah, we're going to talk about it. What did you think about this story when it came out?
I saw the movie The Blindside, and which was a good movie.
You liked the movie?
Yeah, I thought the movie was pretty good. You
okay.
know, it's sad, and then especially because when the movie came out, back in 09, 06 or something like that, I never heard anything from Michael, or I don't know if he was speaking out. I haven't heard anything from Michael or the family. But now to hear him speak out and saying one of the worst things about the film is they betrayed him as a person who couldn't read.
Yeah.
And then he said that, going in the locker room, being amongst your teammate, thinking you can't read plays. I said, man, that's sort of messed up, and I sometimes people want to write stories and make them more compelling, but why do you always got to try to make black people look ignorant as hell, that he couldn't read? And he said he was all-American.
Yeah.
He was all-American at that time, so
they really made him look stupid.
I mean, stupid.
And then they made Sandra Bullock's character come out there on the field and made her look like she was she knew all about football and all of these different things. And so, yeah, it was just kind of funny how they portrayed him in the movie. Like he was dumb, he couldn't read, he couldn't write, he couldn't do anything for himself.
And he was in grades behind with this little child,
and he needed Sandra Bullock to be there and whatnot. But in real life, he was an All-American. He was smart. He had played football before, and it's just kind of unfortunate that they portrayed him that way. Yeah. And but this is a guy who made it to the NFL, and he played in the NFL and had a pretty good career. It was longer than the average career, which is 3 years, I think. So and he did pretty good for himself. But it was kind of crazy to hear that he didn't make any money off of this movie. He didn't, pretty much off of his likeness, and so. I just find it surprising that all of this is coming down. A lot of people think that that he's doing this now because he's selling a book.
Well, the Tuohy family claimed that they only made $15,000 per, and they saying allegedly that they gave him his cut, and he was like, "No, that's not true."
Yeah,
and he didn't make any money. I'm curious to know how much money has the family made off of him altogether. If they did make any money.
Well, if they're on this conservatorship, I wonder if they probably made some. I mean, I don't know when conservatorships end.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm reading from USA Today. Says the Blindside lawsuit is what they're calling it. Toohey family intends to end conservatorship for Michael Oher. So Sean and Leah Ann Toohey intend to end their conservatorship for Michael Oher. Lawyers for the couple said during news conference Wednesday. Oher filed a petition with Shelby County, Tennessee probate court Monday to end the conservatorship, which he claims the Tooheys deceived him into signing, saying they were legally adopting him. So they told him they were legally adopting him, but now the Toohey family is coming back stating that, no, that's not true because he was 18 and we can't, because, you considered like an adult. You can't adopt 18. So court records show Oher signed the conservatorship papers in August of 2004. 3 months after his 18th birthday. Legal experts have said there is no basis for the conservatorship to exist. Damn, so that means it's almost like you still legally own a person.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So then Sean Toohey and couple's attorney have said this week that conservatorship was a means of protection for Oher to attend Ole Miss, the couple's alma mater, and that the maneuver would make him part of the family. All along, Oher said he thought he'd been legally adopted. Oher is also seeking back pay for any money the Tooheys may have earned through the conservatorship, mainly the life rights agreement and contract for the 2009 blockbuster movie The Blind Side, which starred Sandra Bullock.
Yeah.
Michael,
it's crazy.
Michael Oher got every dime he had coming. This is Toohey lawyer Randy Fishman said. Lawyer Steve Ferris said that the Tooheys' wealth outside of Oher, who made more than $30 million during his 8-year NFL career, was more than enough.
Yeah. So I guess they didn't get any of the money from the NFL.
Even
though they still have him under, or they're supposed to be ending it.
Yeah. That's like you still own, so you can kind of make money off the rights of him or the likeness of him. But think about it. Do you think there's any merit to what he's saying, or it's just like how they saying it's a farce he is pulling up? Cause think about it. He don't need any money from them. They say he made over $30 million his NFL career. So he may have maybe 15, 14, even 20 million of that left over.
Here's the thing about the Michael Oher situation. He's been saying this for years, apparently, that the movie portrayed him differently and the story wasn't true. And so he's been saying that for years. People have been saying that he's been saying that for years. So this isn't something new that he's been bringing out, but I think now he's trying to tell the truth in his story, and he's also writing a book. And so a lot of people may say that that's a motivation for what he's trying to do, but I do think that he deserves to, because this is his likeness and they portrayed him so bad in the film, he deserves to come out and say,
I agree, what
he is saying. And regardless of how long it took him to say this, whatever, Man,
it's funny you said that. I just pull up an article that agree with you. It says Michael Oher has been telling us about the nightmares he's been living for years.
Exactly.
So you've been heard about this?
So it's been out. It's been out that he's been talking about this. I didn't hear about it until recently that he's been talking about it for years. But if that's true, I think that he can take all the time he wants to and talk about this. I think we're just now hearing him. That's what it is. It ain't that, he's just now saying this. It's just now that we're hearing him and listening to his story. And so because, I think when people would bring up how the story isn't real, people always go back to, it's Hollywood. They have to sensationalize it a little bit.
Creative license.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they do that, man, that's messed up. If that is, because think about it, you 18, you don't need to adopt him. He going to the NFL, and they claim they just doing that. They did it so he can go to Ole Miss. But according to the movie, he had many college options, and he went to Ole Miss because, I guess, like you said, he thought he was adopted, so he went to Ole Miss to follow their alma mater. But I don't know, man. Sounds like some red tape.
Yeah. We got to move on to the next story, but do you think that Sandra Bullock should give back her
No, Sandra Bullock
Oscar?
don't got nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
She just portrayed a role. She
just portrayed the role, exactly.
Keep your Oscar. She don't got nothing to do with that. That's not on her, man. That's
I'm surprised you said that, but yeah, people need to stop it. She needs to keep her Oscar.
Nah, she don't.
She put in the work for it, and even though the story may not have been true, she still deserves her Oscar. Yeah. All right. Moving on to Hawaii. The Maui situation, 106 people are now confirmed to be dead in the fire. Actually, 110 says the warning sirens wouldn't have saved lives. The death toll in Maui wildfires is 110. Hawaii Governor Josh Green said at a Wednesday news conference, where officials faced often heated questions about the country's actions in the wildfires swept across the island last week, sending people scrambling for safety. With so many deaths and so many people unaccounted for, the governor has commissioned the state attorney general to investigate the responses, but survivors, some of who were forced to seek refuge in the ocean, have demanded answers for issues like why no warning sirens sounded. Yes, there's a lot of people still who are unaccounted for. 110 people dead. They're trying to see, I think whenever there's a problem like this happening, people want to go and blame people. Because, this is such a travesty. This is one of the worst.
Who are they blaming?
They're blaming the governor. They're blaming a lot of the people at the head, at the top. They wanted the sirens to be going off when the fire was happening. So
whoever was over the sirens, I heard that they weren't. They didn't have experience in catastrophes or something like that.
Oh, really?
Did you hear anything about that?
I didn't hear anything about that.
Yeah, but I mean, really, that's a catastrophe of nature, man. There's nothing you can really do about that.
Yeah.
I mean, now what happens from this point on is other people's fault. Like, take your boy Biden, for example. He want to give them a check of $700 one time, but send all this money overseas to Ukraine. Was it Ukraine, right?
Yeah.
But he want to give and these are American citizens.
I know.
He want to give them one check. What's $700 supposed to do?
Yeah.
What is that supposed to do?
Yeah.
And then I was talking to my mom about the situation. She was saying that one dude, because you got a few people speaking out, but their own personal experiences and their homes that burn and their land and things like that. One guy said he had, when the fire broke out, he had his important documents and money inside a steel box. Well, the flame, when it engulfed, the steel was intact. But then when he went back, of course, the box was charred, but what the contents inside was all right. But supposedly when he went back, whomever doing the disaster relief or whatever the case, I don't even know if they even started yet, they broke into the box and stole all the money.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. And then there's another lady who's over there. I saw her on social media. I think I was listening to D.L. Hughley or someone, and they were sharing some of their viral clips. And she was saying that you have, these will buy your property. People hitting them up now and trying to, while the people are, desolate and stuff like that, people are hitting them up trying to buy their property. In the time they're trying to offer them pennies on the dollar right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have all type of predatory practices. Yeah. And things like that, man.
With the Biden thing, I'm not surprised. I mean, listen, they haven't been there for the people. There was a train disaster that happened a few months ago. They didn't do anything for those people. Took them like 10, 15 days to get out there to even talk about the situation. So, I mean, I think that we've seen a pattern with them. They don't really know how to handle disasters or things that are going on. Now, when it comes to Ukraine, they're right there. They let that Zelensky dude come right into America and like go and speak in front of Congress in his civilian clothes. He didn't even have enough sense to put on a suit, you know. And but anyways, we don't have to get that deep into it. But you know, I think that it's unfortunate that this situation is happening. Thoughts and prayers out to those people
in Maui,
and I hope that they can find some of these people who are missing, who are unaccounted for, alive and well and okay. And I think that they need to do something. Somebody needs to do something.
Because it damn sure ain't gonna be our government.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, or FEMA, you know, FEMA has money aside for disaster relief.
Yeah.
And they're gonna have to like put these people in, you know, start, you know, I don't know how what the power grid looks like, but you know, start getting some FEMA trailers out there and, you know, start getting some relief to these people, man. You know, I'm sure they're gonna need potable water and things like that, and food. People, I mean, homes, can you imagine your homes are charred, burned to the ground?
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't imagine, you know, even when I see people like with hurricanes and stuff like that, it's like, it's kind of crazy. And you see the hurricane is about to hit California.
Yeah. That's right.
Which is like unheard of. And so, yeah. I mean,
it might be a tropical depression, you know, let's pray that, you know, because we get hit with a lot of tropical depressions here in the Southeast.
Yeah, I mean, even with the tornadoes, when you see those pictures from tornadoes, like in the middle West, you know.
Yeah, Tennessee, Kansas. Yeah. You guys don't get tornadoes like that out there in Cali.
No, we don't get tornadoes
earthquakes.
Like that. But like, yeah, we get earthquakes.
And fires, right?
Mudslides, I think I would compare to like, you know, hurricanes and stuff like that.
And fires. You get those fires.
Yeah, the fires are bad too.
That's in Southern California, right?
Yeah. So yeah, it can be really bad out there. You know, everybody has something.
Everybody has something.
Yeah. Well, let's hope everything goes well in Maui. Our next story is Trump. Trump has been indicted for the 4th time. This time he's got hit with the RICO statute that they use for mobsters and gangsters.
Racketeering.
And so I'm going to read this story from NPR, why Trump indictments have not moved the needle with Republicans. Okay. With each passing indictment of former President Donald Trump, up to 4 now in less than 5 months, it seems he's only solidified his grip on the Republican Party. Trump is the far and away frontrunner for the GOP presidential nomination again and has raised gobs of money off of the legal developments. About half of the Republican voters seemed nearly locked in for Trump and believe his baseless narrative of deep state conspiracies against him. What is your thoughts on the Republican Party's pretty much standing by Trump?
I still think, man, it is amazing for one person with no political background, no political experience, you know, just a businessman, rather how successful he is, that's up to the, however successful you want to say he is, you know, that's up to whomever. But to take over a whole political party like that, that's just, it's almost like, I'm not saying he's Hitler, but it's almost Hitler-esque, like to just take over and just have everyone, at your will, to do whatever, regardless if it's right or it's wrong. They just ride with you and don't go against the grain, regardless whatever happened, man. It's crazy to me, man. It's crazy, man. What do you think about your boy?
This isn't my boy either. You said Biden was my boy. You said this guy's my boy, and neither one of them are my boys. But here's what I will say about Trump. I think the reason why Trump is even close to where he is, but the reason why half of the Republican Party still ride with him is because Biden has been disastrous. And, people don't want to admit it. Listen, Biden did some good things. He got the Inflation Act passed. He got some infrastructure bills passed.
He didn't do nothing for student loans.
He did some legislation. He's still working on the student loan thing.
Work fast, Biden. Work fast.
He's doing a lot of different things that are good. But listen, other than that, man, inflation is still record highs. Gas prices are going up again. I mean, somebody's got to get in there and do something. And so I think the reason why Trump is still popular is because people are like, what in the world is going on in America? We got this big war that we keep shelling money over to out in Ukraine. It's a proxy war. Let's call it what it is. And, I think that now it is time for, somebody else to take the realm. And the only person that's kind of already done it is Trump. And you can argue that he was terrible too, he didn't, make good on some of his promises. But you can also argue, listen, people were prospering under Trump, I know I had more money in my pocket when he was in there. And so I think that, a lot of people feel like Trump did a lot of good when he was in there, and they kind of want to get back to that. And so I think that's why he's still popular. I don't think that Trump or Biden is the way forward, but we gotta change it up, man. I'm tired of going to the gas station and having to close my eyes. It's getting ridiculous out there, man. Gas prices are ridiculous. Paying for food is ridiculous. And you know what the Biden administration had to say? Oh, people can do it. They can pay for it. It's like, dude, are you kidding me? Who are you talking to? And you wonder why in all the polls, Trump is leading, because these people are coming out here and talking this mess. And that's all I got to say about it.
And that's why I think that people who running say, Tim Scott and Nikki Haley and with Doug Christie. And,
Chris Christie, yeah.
I'm sorry, Chris Christie. Who the hell is Doug Christie?
I don't know who that is.
Chris Christie, Nikki Haley,
you're making
Tim
up
Scott.
people.
I know, right? and Larry Elder, they need Trump followers. They that's why their talking points are catered towards that. They want and your boy
Vivek,
DeSantis.
Yeah, DeSantis and Vivek. A lot of people are talking about Vivek. They're saying that
that's the Indian guy, right?
Yes, they're saying that he may be the one because he's. Yeah, I know he came on the Breakfast Club.
But he wants people to do learn civic, a civic. Pretty before you able to vote, learn civics. Like I took civics in high school, but he's asking you to do something he hasn't done himself.
Yeah,
that's sort of.
I think he has a lot of different ideas of what he wants to do, and I think that
all of them do.
I'm not 100% on a lot of his ideas, like waiting until you're 25 to vote, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I do think that there are a lot of people who aren't
as
patriotic about America, and I think that he's right on that end. But
Elder isn't going to win either.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Elder's even running.
Only one who's going to get close, maybe Nikki Haley. But
have you heard of Bobby Kennedy? Bobby Kennedy Jr.
I heard something about him.
Yeah, what do you think? Have you?
No, I haven't heard his policies.
He's interesting to me. He's running as a Democrat, and he has some interesting policies. A lot of people aren't okay with some of the stuff that he said about vaccines.
Is he eligible to debate? Is he going to debate?
Well, Biden's already said he doesn't care what percentage people get. He's not going to debate him. So he's almost.
Who else from the left is running? Who else threw their hat in the ring?
Just a bunch of. I think there's not that many people that are actually running from the left.
Can Biden even debate? Come on, look at Biden. Come on, man.
Hey,
let's be real.
You're saying it.
He's going to have what's that guy's name? The Senate, the minority Senate for the Republicans, who had that brain freeze at the pulpit.
Mitch McConnell.
Mitch McConnell. Yeah, Biden might have one of those moments. God forbid. But let Dr. Cornel West and Kennedy, let those guys go out there and debate, and let them do it.
Oh yeah, that's who you're going for still. What's some of his policies? Are you
the people's?
What do you think? What do you think about him?
Honestly, I mean, I gotta be real. How far he's going to get, I don't know. What I mean? I don't know if they will even let him debate, but he's speaking like he's for the people. If everything that we talked about, man, he's trying to, which I don't think nobody will be able to do it, but he wants to try to I'm not going to even say close, try to narrow the wealth gap between blacks and whites, if possible. Of course, I don't know what they're gonna do about healthcare reform, but also with prison reform, things like that. And I think I don't know if he said anything pertaining to global warming. I'm not sure about that, but definitely prison reform. And that all stems from education and impoverished areas and things like that. Whereas he didn't say anything about defunding the police, but I'm sure he would want to allocate some funds to go to communities, whereas the police don't need all these funds. You know what I mean? You got to redirect some of that money and put it back in communities to help communities build, to get out of impoverishment, and then I think that will lower crime. Maybe. At least to some degree, it will lower some crime. If people making money, if we had a decent here in South Carolina, it won't eliminate crime. Nothing will eliminate crime, but if we have a decent livable wage, I'm talking about jobs starting at the minimum of $20 an hour, even though you still kind of need more than that. Yeah. At least starting at that, you know what I'm saying? I think crime would go down substantially because people, you got money, you can afford to live, granted, you're not rich, but after you pay your bills and live comfortably, you still have a little something left over.
How much money a year do you think a person needs to make in order to be comfortable?
I think a person needs at least to be comfortable, a single person needs at least, I say a minimum of $54,000.
54?
54,000.
To live comfortably?
Yeah.
I would say it's a lot higher.
You think it's a lot higher?
Oh yeah. I think to live comfortably, you would probably need to make around $70,000, $80,000.
Well, that ratio going to vary, depends on California, South Carolina, New York, of course, right? But here, I think here
70,000, 80,000 is comfortable.
Oh man, you balling.
Now,
I think you can live comfortable up to 50,000.
Yeah, I mean, comfortable. I feel like is if you think about the way that the rent is, right? If you want to live in a place which now the rent is $2,000 if you want to get into a good place.
The average rent here is I think it's $1,400.
Exactly, $1,400.
One bedroom, right?
If you want to, have a one bedroom, let's round up and say that it's $1,500, and they want you to make 3 times that rent. That's $4,500 a month you have to make, which comes out to $54,000, like you said. Yeah. But really, I feel like the real number is around $2,000 a month for rent, and you times that by 3, and you times that by 12, 72,000. I feel like 70, 80,000 is really where you want to be in order to be comfortable. But I mean, it's crazy how at $15, which the minimum wage here in South Carolina is way lower than that.
What is the minimum wage?
It's $7.25. It's
and some jobs will be hiring, but they want to pay you $13 an hour.
Yeah, it's very low.
I'm my God, man.
We definitely have to up those wages. They can't be that low.
I remember during the Obama administration, they want the minimum wage to be $10.10.
Yeah.
Of course, that was back then, but still, even that was low.
Yeah, and even people had a problem with that. So, It's kind of funny.
Yeah, you can't live, man. The average car note gonna run you no less than $400.
Yeah.
That's not to mention if your insurance, your utilities, and some people, if they have life insurance or medical insurance, because we don't have free health care like they do in Canada, which America can't afford to have free health care.
Well, here's what I'll say about Canada is way smaller than, America. It is, in terms of the population. Do you know that there are more people who live in California than the entire population of
Canada?
You can look that up, man. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, man. I already know these numbers because I talk about this all the time. So I already know these numbers.
Canada is in 21. Go ahead. What is it?
Yeah,
38.25 million.
Yep.
38.25 million.
That's it, man. Canada is small.
Let me see.
We have 360 million people who live here in America. So
California is
I told you
39.24.
What I tell you? Listen, I already know these numbers. I know these numbers.
But they can.
I should have bet you.
They can do.
Yeah.
You know the reason why as a white guy came out. Oh man, I wish I could find it. Why they don't have affordable? America was going to do that a long time ago.
Yeah, I think they didn't. I think obviously they can afford it because
they can do it.
Look at what they're doing with Ukraine.
Right, exactly. They can do it.
But I mean, I'm just saying that people need to stop comparing us to small little countries like Canada.
It was because we have a lot of immigrants flocked over here.
Yeah,
too,
I know.
So America population wasn't that before, But it was a guy who said, and I saw him. I was looking at, I believe it was DL. Hold up, and it was a guy who was saying that they was going to do affordable healthcare for everybody, but the reason why they didn't do it because it would benefit black people.
If we can give, I guess now over $200 billion to Ukraine, I think we can give America. The citizens of America more health care.
I found it.
Oh, did you find it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna play it for you.
These tendencies and traits of the American Negro, in which he lays out all the numbers, and then he concludes that if we simply avoided allowing black people to have any access to health care, that within 2 or 3 generations, the whole race would die out, and that would solve the race problem in America. When Teddy Roosevelt, 1912, proposed a national health care system, people said no because black people will get it. When Franklin Roosevelt proposed a national health care system, it was the same thing. We don't want black people to get it. When Truman tried it in 1947, same thing. Don't want black people to get it. We have to figure out a way to keep black people from using Medicare. And the way that they came up with was to have a 20% hole, a gap in Medicare, so that you had to pay 20% of your doctor's bill and your hospital bill, and that would discourage poor black people from showing up at the hospitals. Nearly 100% of the reason why the United States is the only country in the world that doesn't define healthcare as a right is because of racism.
Bar none. And there you have it, the system.
Well, that's one guy. That's his opinion.
Well, you think that's just his opinion?
Well, I mean, I don't know who this guy is or what his credibility is.
He is. I don't know, Coach Leon. I don't know.
Yeah, but here's what I do. Here's what I will say. I think that if it was definitely back in the Roosevelt times and way back in the day, he's probably right. But what prevents them in today? I mean, we have people. I guess I'm sounding like Larry Elder now. We got people who are on, some of these committees and different things, and senators and presidents and stuff like that. So, and that still hasn't come to fruition. So,
Michael Bearden? No, I don't know. I guess he's somebody famous. He commented and said, "Racism planted deeply in the roots of America. Centuries of fear, ignorance, and hatred, and still bearing evil fruit today with no foreseeable end in sight."
Yeah.
So you disagree with this guy?
No, I don't disagree. I'm just saying that, according to him,
It sounds like you can't say that's his opinion. It sounds like he has some stuff based. I'm not saying he doesn't have an opinion. Yeah. If that's the case, because you said Elder has some stuff based in fact. You didn't say he said anything in opinion, and this dude is giving you facts. So, and we don't know because we
I don't know who this guy is. Yeah.
Yeah. We haven't I haven't checked anything Elder said, and neither this guy. So I'm just saying, but anyway.
With Trump's indictment, I think that this is the one that holds the most weight because they actually have him on tape coming in saying,
when he's calling Georgia trying to get those.
He says, "Find me those 40,000 votes."
He's like, "Look, this is all."
This is the most damning one. This is the one that I think that he's not going to be able to come back from because they got him on tape saying it.
They do, but I don't think nothing's going to happen.
I've heard some people come back and say, I think that I just think. If you just listen to the tape, that you hear him say, "Find me those 40,000 votes."
He said, "Look, that's all I need."
And so
do you think the election was stolen?
I don't think that the election was stolen, but there are a couple of things that make me go, "Okay, they kind of rigged it a little bit."
You think so?
Against him. Yeah, the Hunter Biden story didn't come out until a few months ago. Like, they knew about this back then, all the Hunter Biden stuff. Do you not think that would have influenced the election? If you found out that the Biden family took bribes from China and Ukraine and some of these places, that would have benefited.
You think if that would have came out, people wouldn't have voted for Biden?
Yeah.
That's what you're saying?
I think that there would have been some people who wouldn't have voted for him. And so when you look at it from that aspect, I think that there were some things that were against him. When you find out that 2 weeks later they come out with the vaccines, after the election, the vaccines, that would have been a big thing that Trump could have ran on. He could have said, "Oh yeah, look at what I just did. I just got the vaccines done."
But wasn't Trump the same one who got rid of the same department that Obama had in place for disease and control? He got rid of them.
That's what people say, and they try to blame it on him.
Oh, so you said that wasn't true? No, I'm not blaming it on anybody. But you don't think he got rid of? I'm not giving Biden no praise.
I would have to research it and go into it. But
say he defunded that same, because remember now when Obama was in office, you had Ebola and another thing, but nothing. That it wasn't an outbreak like COVID.
Well, listen, what you could say is that Trump had the same people as Obama. He had the same people in place.
Fauci?
Fauci was in place under Obama when the Ebola thing happened.
No, what I'm saying is, but he still had that. What department was in CDC?
Yeah, they try to come in and try to say
something that he did. I'm serious. He did get rid of something.
Listen, all I'm trying to say.
That's what they do.
All I'm trying to say. You asked me a question about the election. Do I think that there was some stuff that was weird about the election?
But you don't think it was stolen?
Some of the things. I don't think it was stolen. There's no way that the election was stolen. Come on now.
I don't think it was stolen.
I don't think it was stolen. When they start talking about the ballots, that's when I check out. When they're like, "Oh, they put the ballots underneath the table."
You see
that's
them,
like, bro,
and you
please.
See the people, the company who did the ballot, they're suing.
Exactly.
As well, because they're defaming them.
Yeah, they won a big lawsuit against Fox News. Oh, they put the ballot underneath the table, and then there were some in the lake. They were throwing them in the lake. Those people are
Fox
wacko.
News don't run with any truth, man. They just go.
The people who say those kind of things are a little bit wacko to me.
They end up raping.
That's when I check out. When they start talking about that, I check out. So, I think that I do think that there were some weird things that happened with the election, but I don't think that it was stolen, But them holding back the Biden stuff, them holding back the vaccines being finished, them holding back some of these different stories definitely contributed in the same way that when Hillary, when it was Hillary versus Trump, when the FBI came out and said something, I think his name was Comey, who was the director at the time. When he came out and said something, I think that influenced that election too, that even gave us Trump. I don't think that if he didn't come out and say that, 9 days before the election, I think Hillary would have been the president.
You think so?
I think that you can influence these elections with withholding these kinds of things and these kinds of informations. The Biden thing should have came out. They're still withholding some of the information about the Biden situation. But, you know.
Man, I think they were holding information about the cocaine that was in the White House. They said case closed.
Yeah, exactly. We could talk about that. I mean, we know it was hunters.
I mean, you know, but like you said, brother,
I have a friend who is like, we know that was hunters.
Like you said, you know, I don't know. What could it change the outcome? Perhaps, maybe, you know, by withholding the information after the election. Yeah, it's very possible. It's very possible. But I don't think the election was stolen either.
Yeah. All right, we got to get into this last story. All right. So quickly, we'll talk about this for 5 minutes. Barbie, well, really, moviegoers have saved Hollywood, really, for this summer. Mm-hmm. People are making a lot of money. Barbie has made over $1 billion, marking the first time that a woman has made by herself $1 billion off of a movie, Greta Gerwig. And Oppenheimer is set now to make over $600 million. I don't know if you watched either of these movies.
No, I have not seen either of those movies.
Oh, okay. What you been doing, man? What you been doing this summer? I watched them both.
Man, I don't know what I've been doing myself. I have no idea.
I got you. Well, Oppenheimer was a really good movie. I think people should go watch it.
What's the movie called? Obsidian? What is it? What is the movie?
Oppenheimer.
About the atom bomb?
Yeah. Well, no.
It's
about the nuclear bomb. Yeah, he basically made it, and it's a good movie. Christopher Nolan, he's the guy who made Dark Knight. He made Inception. He made some other movies that are really good. But yeah, I watched both of these movies. I watched Barbie as well.
Which one did you like best?
Oppenheimer.
I thought for sure you was going to say Barbie.
No, Barbie's good. Barbie. I know there's a lot of conservatives that don't really like Barbie, but Barbie's a good, fun movie if you just go and turn your brain off, turn your brain conservative, off, you know, whatever you think, you know, brain, and just watch the movie. It's actually a good movie. It's actually an impactful movie. I think for filmmakers, you should definitely go watch this movie. It's Greta Gerwig. Greta Gerwig has been in the industry for a while and has made a lot of good movies with Noah Baumbach and some of these other people. And so I think that it's awesome to see her, you know, reach the height of her career. And I think it's awesome to see women making $1 billion movie. A woman making a $1 billion movie. I mean, this is big time. So I'm a big fan of Greta Gerwig. So
what other movies has she done?
There's a movie called Frances Ha that's really good. She acted, and I think she helped write that movie. And she's done Lady Bird, which was an Oscar-nominated movie.
I think recently?
Yeah, it was a few years ago.
Oh, okay.
It's like a teenage drama. You know, it's
Lady Bird.
Yeah, Lady Bird. She did Little Women. She did.
And I know about Little Women.
She's done a few different movies, and so she's really good. She's been writing and acting for most of her career, and in the past like 5 years, I would say 5 or 6 years, she's been directing more. So, and Noah Baumbach, he's a really good director as well. They made Marriage Story together, and
Marriage Story, is that the one with
Kylo Ren? I can't think of his name. And Scarlett Johansson.
Scarlett Johansson. Yeah. I saw that. That was they got nominated for Emmy and
Oscars.
Oscar.
Yeah, it definitely got nominated.
Yeah, with Scarlett Johansson and
like a modern day like Kramer versus Kramer.
Yeah.
So
the whole dynamic of their family breakdown.
Yeah.
You know, growing apart and him.
Well, that's the same people who wrote Barbie. So I think as from a filmmaking aspect, go watch the movie. You're in good hands with those filmmakers at the helm.
Did you wear pink when you went to go see it?
No, I'll say
I heard
this.
Real men wear pink.
There was a lot of beautiful women at the theater.
Wearing pink?
I was like, man, yeah, I've never seen this many women wearing pink, you know?
Why didn't you dress up like Ken?
I was like,
you know, there's a black Ken, right?
I'm like,
you rarely see him. He's in the shadows. You really see him.
I didn't know there was a black Ken.
I think
used to play with Barbies.
Is there a black Ken? Is there a black Ken doll? No, that's a good question.
I actually don't know.
Let me look at it. Was there ever a black Ken doll?
Look it up.
See.
Yeah.
Hold up.
But it was.
Was there ever a black Ken doll?
It was a good show. It was a good movie.
According to Time,
y'all should go watch it.
3 years later, Mattel released the first African-American Ken doll, but it wasn't until 2021 that the company released its most diverse line of Ken dolls.
Dang, to 2021.
Well, they released the Ken doll for the
2020. Yeah, this one. But back then they only had, look at it. Ken got dreads.
He's got dreads.
It's diverse.
Listen to look at.
They never released the Ken like.
I didn't even know like Barbies were still out. I feel like kids don't play with Barbies anymore.
You know, my niece, when my niece was little, I bought her Barbies as a gift, but limited edition ones. They weren't the typical white Barbie. It might have been like a Barbie of Italian or something. You know, they were like from all over. I would find a few. I don't know if she still has them. And they were in case. So I think I bought her maybe 2 or 3. Yeah, that's a good. I wonder if she still has those.
Well, I have a twin sister, and I remember back in the day, she would play with some Barbies. She would play with what is it? There was something called Bratz. When I was growing up, Bratz dolls. You know, but you know, I wouldn't know much about all that. I used to play with G.I. Joe men. You know,
G.I. Joe?
Back in the day, the G.I. Joe men.
What do you call it? They weren't dolls, they were action figures.
I don't know what they call them.
Yeah, action.
But, you know, you would buy the G.I. Joe men. Yeah. I actually, you know what I used to love doing was when I was little, I would get an allowance and I'd have a couple dollars and I'd go our parents would take us to the 99-cent store back when, you know, 99-cent store was 99 cents. And I would get these little army men, kind of like the ones,
the green army men,
like the ones, yeah. I used to play with those all the times, like the one in Toy Story.
Yeah, the army men, and I used to even get the ones with the parachute. You can throw them and watch them parachute.
That used to be so much fun.
Yeah, the army
they need to bring that stuff back out. That used to be
I think it's still around.
One of the best.
You might have to go to like probably like a novelty store or like a Dollar General or Dollar Tree or something like that.
You could give me some of them army men and I'd be entertained for hours just sitting there playing with those. You know, that was a lot of fun.
And they already, you know.
Yeah, they got the shootings.
They're already in the prone. They're already shooting. They already got the binoculars. Yeah.
That used to be fun.
They were cheap. My mom would buy a big bag and they'd be in a big bag and.
Yeah, that's what I would get. I would always go get me a new bag of that and some hot chips and stuff.
It didn't matter if you lose them because you got about 40 more. You know?
Yeah.
We played with G.I. Joe too. See, did you play with Barbies?
No,
I'm just saying. I mean, you know.
Listen, I played with G.I. Joe men. You know, that was the way to go.
I think my sisters had Barbie. They had the black ones.
Oh, okay.
Then eventually, after a while, you know, the head come off and
exactly. They addressed that in the movie. Spoiler.
Yeah,
they addressed that.
Well, hell, if they haven't seen the movie yet, how long? That movie's been up for how long now?
It's been out for a while. You know
exactly, so you can spoil it for them.
But yeah, there's a lot of beautiful women going to the theater.
Oh, so you saying
if you're a single guy,
go see it.
If you're a single guy and you're wondering whether you should go, there's a lot of beautiful women in pink. Pink. You might sit by one. You might. I
don't know, man. I might
go
and I might wear pink. I got some pink polos.
Do you got a pink polo?
Yeah, I got
like
a pink
Kanye.
Polo. I got a pink polo.
I used to rock the pink polo.
Real
thought I was Kanye.
Pink. Real men wear pink. Like, hey, I'm like Cameron. You know, rocking the
pink. I don't think I have any pink in my wardrobe. So
pink. A couple. I actually have a pink polo. Maybe about 2 pink polo. Well, actually, pink and green look like AKA. AKA color. Yeah.
I got you. Mm-hmm. Well, thanks for being with us on the Black Summit.
All right, man. And I'm Hendrix.
And I'm Brooks. We'll see you next time. Please like and subscribe. Get us out there.
Yeah.
We're trying to grow the audience.
Peace.